Hi everyone, Tracy here with Paper Closet Designs, and today I decided to put together a quick little video using using the Slimline box card, the Bethlehem City, and showing you some of the new updates that we have with Cricut Design Space. So some of these updates just came out about a week ago. This is the last week of November, and so some have been around for a few weeks and some just came out, but I thought I would go ahead and show you because there has been some questions, especially regarding the score lines. So I'm just going to minimize this, and I am in Cricut Design Space. I've already uploaded both files that we're going to use. I've got the perforation lines and the score lines. Let's start with the perforation lines. So I'm going to click on that and add to canvas. And there is my Slimline or Bethlehem Slimline box card. Now this file is fairly large, meaning that there are a lot of pieces to it. So you're going to want to make sure that your width is right around 11.5 inches. It does not have to be exact. This one's fine, but if it comes in a lot smaller or a lot larger, you'll want to change that. But this one came in fine, so it's working great. The next thing you'll want to do is you're going to ungroup it. And if you'll notice over here in your layers panel, things have changed just a little bit. And I will go through and show you a lot of those. But first, our ungroup is right here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on ungroup. And now we have all of our layers listed over here in the layers panel. And so we can select them by clicking on the individual layers. One of the new updates that I really like is you can now change the name of these layers. That's something that people have been asking for a lot. So if I click on, scroll right up to the top, if I click on this star right here, it's going to highlight it over here on the layers panel. And now if I double click on that, I can change that to star. Excuse me, I've got a little bit of a cold going on. So I can change that layer now to star. If I click on this piece, it highlights over here. This is our background layer, so I can click on it and say background. This one would be the background middle piece. And I didn't spell that right, but that's okay. And then this would be our background cutout. And I'm not going to do that for all of my pieces, but I just wanted to show you that you can do it that way. What I like about this is then if you go ahead and save it later and you come back to use it, all of your pieces are named so that you'll know what they are. If we scroll down here, I have now included the print and cut in the SVG file. It's not coming in as its own PNG that you had to download separately. So a lot of my older files, they still are that way. I'm going to try and update everything. But for right now, these newer ones, or the ones that I've updated, come in this way. So all I need to do is I'm going to select them. I'm going to come over down to the bottom where it says flatten, click flatten, and now that is a print and cut image. So if you'll notice, it says print and cut, and I can even change that name to Oh, Come Let Us Adore Him, and I'll know exactly what that is. So then when I go to make it, there's my print and cut, and it was all ready to go. I didn't have to load in a separate PNG file to do that. So let's go back, and the last thing I want to show you on this one is more for my files, but my files that come with the perforation lines, meaning you only need one blade and the blade's going to cut those little perforations. You don't need a score blade. Some people like that, some do not, and that's fine. That's why I do both. But on my files that have the perforations, they are already attached. So again, when I go to make it, Let's come down here to one that has the perforations. They are already attached. You didn't have to do anything. You don't have to switch out your blade. It's just completely ready to go. So the only thing I would need to do to get this file ready is I would need to flatten the printable image. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to select all and delete this piece. And we're going to go back, and this time we're going to work with the scored images, or the scored file. So I'm going to open it up. Again, the width comes in at 11.53, which is really close to 11.5. It's not going to make any difference, so I'm just going to leave it. I am going to go ahead and ungroup it. And now I want to work with the score lines. So I'm going to click on this first piece. This is the outer box, and again, I could change it if I wanted to. Outer box piece. But the score lines are actually cut lines. If you look up here under operations and under basic cut, they are all just cut lines. So if I send this now to be cut, it's going to cut those lines. So I need to change those lines to something I can use with my scoring tool, either the scoring stylus or the scoring wheel if you have the maker. So what I will do, and this is a little bit of a change, it's not a huge one, you've probably already figured it out, but just in case, I need to come over here to my layers panel, and instead of clicking on the score lines over here in the canvas, I need to select them in the layers panel. So I've got the outer box piece, and I'm going to click on the score lines. They're selected, and now I can come over to operations, hit the drop down, and choose score. The last thing I need to do is to select both of those. So I can do it over here by clicking and selecting both, or I can come over to the layers panel and click it to select it, and both the score line and the box piece are selected, and we're going to attach them. And we had to do that before. It's kind of frustrating. I know people say, oh, it's one more step. I really don't want to do it. That's why I offer the perforation lines the way that I do, that if you want the score lines, you'll have to do that for each piece. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to select the score lines, do drop down, select score, then select both and attach. And we have one more piece that we need to do that with. This is the back insert piece. So I'm going to select the score line, score. Oh, this one I already did it. It's this one. Sorry. Select the score line. Hit score. Now it's not going to do it. Select score and attach. Something is giving me some grief over here on my detach. There we go. Select both of those and attach. I've been having some issues with Design Space this morning. I was trying to upload some files and it was giving me a little bit of grief. But okay, so all three of those have now been attached. So I'm going to select the printable image and we're going to flatten it. Not attach, we're going to flatten. Flatten turns it into a print and cut. And if you're not sure if it did, you can just lay it on top of there and you'll see that it's ready to go. It's going to print and then cut out that line. And now I can go to make it. And there's my print and cut ready to go. And as I scroll through, I can tell that everything is ready. My score lines are attached. And it says over here it's going to score it and go to and then do a basic cut. And so when I go in to make it or to continue, and I'm not hooked up anymore, it will give you the prompt and it will tell you that you need to add a scoring stylus or a scoring wheel, whichever, to cut that out. So I'm going to hit cancel. Yes, I want to cancel the cut. I hope that makes a little bit of sense to you. Okay, so we're going to select everything and I'm going to delete it. And I want to show you a couple of new things that we have down here on the layers panel. It looks a little bit different than it did before. So we need to bring up some shapes, and I'm just going to do some really simple shapes to show you what I'm talking about. Let's do a square, and then let's also do a circle. I'm going to bring these up to the front of the screen, and I'm going to change the color on them just so that you can kind of see what I'm doing. So to change the color, you would select it, and you're going to come to your swatch panel, and I'm just going to do purple, and let's do green, just because they show up. Okay, a couple of things that have changed. Now these are a little bit older and you've probably already figured them out. But if you'll notice the symbols around your bounding box are no longer there. So to size this is really simple. You're going to hover your mouse over one of the corners and then just click and drag. And it will keep everything in proportion. If you want to change that and take it out of proportion, you'll first need to come over here, click on the padlock that unlocks the proportions, and now I can do long and skinny, whatever I want to do. Let's undo and get that back to where we originally were. You'll also notice that the rotate tool looks like it's missing. It's not. All you're going to do is hover just above the corner, not right on it, but right above it, and you'll get your rotating arrow. Click your mouse and you can now rotate it. So really nothing's changed. It's just those icons have disappeared. Let's go back and talk about some of these things that have changed down on the bottom. So I'm going to select it so that you can see what we're talking about. Contour has not changed at all, and I've done a video showing what the contour does. I'm not going to talk about that. Flatten, I already explained, turns it into a print and cut. We don't need to worry about that. And attach attaches it. So it attaches those score lines, or it attaches letters so that they don't move, that they show up on your mat exactly as they show up on your canvas. That's what attach does. So we have slice and we have combined. Slice has also not changed, but I don't know that I've done a video on it yet. So we're going to do that first. I'm going to make these a little bit bigger, and then I'm going to make my circle a little bit smaller so that you can see what I'm doing. When we're using slice, I want you to think of cookie dough. This is the easiest way for me to explain it, and this is how I explain it in all my classes. This piece right here is your cookie dough, or whatever layer is on the bottom. This is your cookie dough. This, the layer that's on the top, is your cookie cutter. Now if I wanted to cut a cookie out of my cookie dough, I would place my cookie cutter right on top of the cookie dough. Right, there's my cookie cutter, there's my cookie dough. I'm going to select both of them, and I'm going to come over to slice. Now I have 3 slice results. Well, what are they? This is my cookie cutter, just like it originally was. I can move it, I can delete it if I want to. This is my cookie. I can move it and I can delete it. And here is my cookie dough with the cookie cut out. That's the best way to explain slice. So what does that do? You can cut a circle out of a tag if you wanted to, or remove part of something if you wanted to. So that's what slice does. I can also take my circle and put it up in the corner, select both, hit slice again. Now I have new slice results, and there is a square with the circle cut, or the corner cut out. I hope that makes a little bit more sense to you. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these 3 pieces. We'll keep this purple one. Now, let's say I have this image and I don't want the circle in it. So I can come over here. I said I've already done a video. I'm going to do this really quick. I can click on contour and it gives me both shapes. If I click on that middle one, it's going to hide that piece. When I close that up, that circle is no longer there. So that's what contour does, is it just removes pieces of an image that you don't want. Okay, let's delete this one. And let's go back and get another square. I'm going to make him a little bit bigger again. And change the color. We'll do green again. And we're going to bring, whoops, we want this one up the front again. So I'm going to bring it over, and we're going to talk about some of these contour tools. So if you come down here on your layers panel, it says combine, and we have a drop down. And there are all of the tools that we had before, but they're a little bit different. So there's our weld tool. What weld is going to do is it's going to take those outside lines and make it one piece. So now I have a weld result, and I have this little tag or shape, whatever it is, that is one piece. It took the square and it took the circle and it made it one piece. Let's undo it. I select them again and come to combine, and this time I have unite. Unite is actually a little bit different than weld. If I unite them, it looks like it's still the one shape. And if I go to make it, it is the one shape. But what the difference is it shows you the 2 individual shapes down here. So if I were to click on the circle, I can now make that bigger. And there is a different shape. Or I can make it a lot smaller. Or I can move it. And it helps with the weld in that you don't have to unweld to change your shape. So a very, very handy tool. I think this is one that we are going to use a lot. Okay, so let's go ahead and undo unite. And now we're back to our 2 shapes. I'm going to select them both. This time we're going to come to combine, and we're going to hit subtract. What subtract does is it removes the front layer from the back layer. So very similar to slice. However, with subtract, I can once again click on the slice result, and I can change the size. Isn't that cool? I can also, again, move it. So another really handy tool that I think we'll use a lot, because you don't have to keep undoing things to get back to your original shape. We can go to combine and undo subtract, and there it is. Okay, let's do another one. Let's go to combine, and this time we're going to do intersect. Intersect takes the 2 shapes and it leaves the space that they overlapped or that they intersected. So now I have just this half circle. I can once again change my shape, or I could change. If I select both, I can come down to combine and undo intact. And you'll notice that when I undo it, it doesn't take it all the way back. It leaves the shapes as they are. Okay, so let's do one more over here, and that is combine, and we're going to do exclude. So what exclude does is it is just the opposite of include, in that it deletes the piece that overlapped. So the 2 pieces that overlapped is now gone. And one more time, I can take those shapes and I can change them around. Can move it. And so this gives you another intricate piece or another piece that you can just design with. So I'm going to go ahead and undo. And then the last one is that we can merge these shapes. So I can go to combine. Whoops, I have to have done something with them, sorry. Go to combine and let's do subtract again. And now I can go to combine and merge, and it is just one shape. The two pieces, the circle and the square, are no longer there to change. To change this, I would have to do my undo button. So there are a few new updates. We still have some more. We have edible images and monograms, and I will do videos and show you how to do all of that. But I just wanted to share this with you really quick. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this video and that it's made some sense to you. Please hit subscribe down below so that you don't miss any of my videos. Give me a thumbs up and have a great day.